Hey, what's up, Blazer fans? Welcome to We Have a Take, the What podcast. I am Tara Bowen Biggs, joined as always by Rose Harding. Hello, Rose.
Hello, Tara. How are you?
I am good. The sun is shining. It's been a couple weeks since we talked. We've got lots to catch up on. Got some big news from our favorite team today. Today is
Oh boy.
Sunday.
Do we ever? I think, what is it? So about like 2 hours ago, the Blazers announced that they are extending Chauncey Billups they're extending him for 2 years and picking up his player option for next year. So a total of 3 more years with Coach Billups.
Or his coaching option. I don't think they call it a player option,
All right.
but
Sorry.
whatever
Coaching
it's
option.
called, whatever
Whatever
the
the fight, whatever.
because you know he would love to play. You know that if he could suit up and put on his tennis shoes and get out there, you absolutely know he would.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, sorry. Coaching option. Team option, we'll call it team option. So we're gonna have Coach Billups for another 3 seasons. And whew,
Potentially.
yeah.
Yeah. So how are we feeling about this?
I'll say I anticipated this. You and I have talked about it on this show before, and I'm not surprised that this is what's happening. I thought several weeks ago that this seemed like what was going to be happening, and so yeah, like I've already worked through all the feelings that I have about it, and I'm like, okay, well, this is my team for the next 3 years, and what's next?
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like I went through all the emotions in like 5 seconds because I, like you said, we've talked about this. We were prepared for it. All signs were pointed in this direction. And, it is what it is. It's like I have no control over it.
Yeah,
Zero. And like as we've seen, um, you know, there's a vocal part of the fan base that really hates this. And like I don't want to take away from their feelings. Like if you hate it, hate it. Um, but it didn't change the trajectory of what the team was planning on doing anyway. And that just makes me feel like I don't have any control over it. So it is what it is. Let's see what happens. And just because he's got 3 more years, that doesn't mean he's going to be there for 3 more years.
that's right.
If I mean, it would be terrible if he just picked up his like final year and he was like a lame duck for a whole other year. That would make no sense.
Right.
So at least there's something they can hold over him, I guess. So we'll see. Well, I don't hate it. I don't love it, and that's about all I have to say about it.
Also, I'll say I don't even know what's happening with coaching around the NBA. I feel like just in general, guys who are safe are suddenly not safe. Guys who seem like they should have been fired years ago or still where they are. Like I don't know like the trends around it, and maybe this is like sort of the oppressive nature of the new like CBA where like the cap is really hard to make moves around, and I don't know, like I don't know exactly like why all of this is the way that it is, but I always see people saying that it's hard to make some of the moves that you would like to be able to move. Free agency is different. And like the coach is the one thing that's not really tied to that. So it's the easiest move that you can make that you think might be a big difference maker. And so, I don't even know what's going around the league. Everybody thought Mike Malone was safe. Mike Malone is currently unemployed. His team's going to the playoffs without him. So what do I know?
Okay, so but with both the Grizzlies and the Nuggets, who both fired, they're both teams headed to the playoffs. Right before starting the playoffs, their coaches were fired. And I find that this like so insulting to the players. It just seems like so
Yes.
like, you guys weren't going to go anywhere anyway, so we're firing your coach. Maybe I'll get a little bump, but we really, we're not counting on anything. It just like I don't know how it could be seen as anything but just like a massive, insult to the players. I mean,
Yeah.
unless the players like hated these coaches so much they were calling for it, but like why would you do that? Do they really think that that's what's going to take the Nuggets back to the championship? I don't know. It's so weird. And if I was a player on that team, I'd be like, well, thank you so much for all of your faith in us that you decided to like take away our coach and just let us, you know, just assume a first round exit for us, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, unless the coach is the reason why the team is like like not playing like so we've seen teams where like they like have a really great beginning of the season and then they fall off kind of a thing. And if
Hmm.
they you attribute that fall off to the fact that like the coach has lost his locker room or whatever, and they're gonna limp into the playoffs anyway, like fine, I guess. But like I'm with you. Like it's like basically waving the white flag on the season and being it's like it's not this year. I mean, we're going to the playoffs, but we're not going to win this year. So we'll just get rid of your coach and let an interim carry you through. And like, what is
Yeah.
that?
It's the we're not going to win this year anyway part of it that just would sit so wrong with me. And I don't know, maybe I I've read several but not all of the stories written about this. So I don't know if like the players were I don't imagine the players were told in advance of these coach firings. I don't imagine the players would have had any choice in it either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, did they say, hey, Nicola, what do you think about your coach? And he was like, whatever gets me to rice and ponies faster, let's take it. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how much players like I don't know how many I don't know how much players are involved in these decisions. I know that like if there's any player, if there's a singular player out there, LeBron maybe gets some of these calls from his like ownership ahead of time, but like that he's like kind of the only one that I can think of.
Hmm.
But could he stop it? I don't know. He's more likely the one to be able to get a call, like make a call and be like, I need you to fire my coach
Yeah.
like David Blatt or whatever in Cleveland. But like I don't know. And I'll say like the firing of the GM in Denver made way more sense to me than the firing of the coach in Denver when the season is not over. Because the
Hmm.
GM's not going to make any more moves this season. And also like I think that if you looked at Denver the last few years, they've had quite frankly, like their books are a problem. That was why they couldn't
Hmm.
like bring back the guys that were important to their winning season when they won the championship. They couldn't bring back Bruce Brown. Like they've had like problems with how much money they have like sitting at the top of their roster, and they have no money to spend down in like like the mid and the bottom of their roster, and that's really hurt them in the Jokic years when Jokic is in his prime now. Like you want to win again, you got to win now. And you know, I can see firing the GM way easier than I can see firing the coach when you still have an indeterminate number of games that your team is still going to be playing.
Right. I mean, because the coach does so much.
Yeah.
It's like trickle down effect. Like we see them, stalking up and down the sidelines, but their job is so much more than that. And so somebody new has to come in and fill that. And whatever they were doing, either they have to do that and the new coach's job, or somebody else has to keep filling in. And I don't know. It seems like a weird, but the league has been full of teams making weird decisions. At least the last couple months anyway. I was just mentioning on Blue Sky that this year there are so many, well, at least we aren't
Yeah,
insert
that's
name
right.
of team. Usually it's just the Kings are there, but like
Poor
now
Kings.
can you imagine being a Dallas fan right now?
No,
I mean,
no.
the pain that is happening to that poor Dallas franchise.
I know. And I never thought I would feel that bad for Dallas fans. And here I am feeling so bad for the fans of that team because they watched their front office tank their team after getting like to the finals.
Yeah. Yeah. It
They were like they remember they and at the beginning of the season they brought in guys like Clay Thompson and they were like Clay's gonna help us get there, and now they're sitting on just like old Clay Thompson, and like Kyrie is hurt and
yeah.
I
I
don't
was
know. I guess now
I
they have Anthony Davis.
young Anthony Davis. I was thinking about it. I was kind of trying to like think about it in Blazer terms because I remember before Dame asked for a trade, years before that, there were people saying it's time to trade Dame so that they can get something or someone back in return that can really move the franchise forward. It was a small group, but it was a part of the conversation. So I was trying to like apply that, like, okay, if I was a Dallas fan, how could I be like, oh, okay, well, except for Luka was only 25 years old. And Anthony Davis is what, 8, 9, 10 years older than him? And it just, Like I was trying so hard to just be like, okay, let me give him. No, there is no benefit of doubt. It was just like, and I was listening to a podcast where I think it was, oh, what's that guy's name? He used to co-host a podcast with Chris Haynes. Anyway, I'll think of his name later. He's a super well-known writer that's been around for and ever. Anyway, he's based out of Dallas, and he was talking about his kids and like everybody in Dallas are huge Luca fans, like the way that
Right.
we were all Damian Lillard fans. In a way, I'm kind of glad we had that whole awkward, awful summer because at least we knew the writing was on the wall and he wasn't traded away in the middle of the night with no warning.
Yeah, because it was that came in at like 9 or 10 at night our time. So most of Dallas was probably asleep and they woke up and Luka Doncic was gone. And also like Luka didn't want to leave. Like so when Dame left, like we knew he wanted to go. We
Mhm.
knew he was ready to move on. Luka was shocked as well. And like I don't know if you saw his return where they like did the tribute video this
Oh, I
week.
couldn't
And
watch it. It
he
was
just like sobbed while they played this video of him thanking him for his time with the team. Like, oh, like it was heartbreaking.
Mhm.
So, yes, we're like, oh, at least we're not the insert franchise here. At least we're not the Hornets. At least we're not the
Phoenix
Mavericks.
Suns.
At least
Who
we're not the
knew?
Phoenix Suns.
Who knew what a disaster? Who knew what a disaster that? Did we know that was going to be a disaster? I mean,
Can I tell you that I had this sneaking suspicion that Phoenix would one day be a disaster? I don't know if I knew it would be this soon, but I
mhm.
knew that because, like sometimes so they got a new owner several years ago. When owners come in, they like to do like, I don't know, big things and shake
Yeah,
it up and make it their own or
and this
whatever.
guy especially.
Yes, and this guy especially. And I was like watching them like, like make it rain money wise. And I was like, oh, this is gonna come home to roost one day. I didn't think it would come home to roost in like 3 seasons, but
Mhm. I my thing with them is I was like, all this for Bradley Beal? Like I didn't understand why they pinned so much on Bradley Beal. Like he was going to be the person that brought it all together. That made no sense to me. If you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, that should be enough. Put a bunch of defenders around them and go.
so Bradley Beal plays
But
the same position as Devin Booker. Like, why did they think their big three was gonna be two guys who played shooting guard and a power forward?
yeah, I don't it made no sense. And so I guess that one is not as surprising and shocking. That one's a little bit more like take a little bit of delight in that one, you know?
The Kings are far more sad for me this season, if I'm being honest, because I felt like when we left the Kings last season, I still felt really good about the Kings. And then like this season, it started with their coach getting fired and then them trading their like franchise star. And I was like,
What are
geez,
you
can the Kings
doing?
can the Kings catch a break? Like, and then they just became the Bulls. Like now they're the Bulls, except for they have, I mean, I'll say they are the Bulls, but with DeMontis Sabonis instead of Vooch.
Mhm.
I don't know if I like it better. I guess I don't like it worse. I dislike it differently, but like, ugh.
Yeah, it's a puzzling one. So at least we're not insert name of franchise. I mean, I feel so again, this is the last game of the season is happening today. I feel like overall it was a success for me as a fan. I
Totally.
got to watch players get better. I got to watch the team seem like they were made more sense than they have in the past. At the end, until just maybe like the last week, it was like players who are actually going to play on this team were playing till
Yeah,
the end. We had a little run. Of course, that makes people mad for the lottery odds. We'll put that aside. It was fun to watch these guys win games. Sorry.
totally. Winning is fun, and I know that people have complicated feelings about winning today because they think about ping pong balls and a chance at a chance and all this stuff like that. But like, I just can't, when I'm in the game and I'm watching these guys that I love so much play basketball, I want good things for them. Because
Mhm.
good things for them are good things for me. And so I'm like trying really hard to not let wins. make me sad because
Yeah.
then I'll feel like my brain is broken.
Yeah. And we only lost, did they lose by 60 this year? I feel like they did they one time?
I forget how much we lost
What
to the
was the
Jazz.
biggest?
Wasn't it the Jazz loss? The Jazz loss was really bad. Psychologically, the Jazz loss was really bad because it was also like they didn't have any other stars. There was like
Yeah.
no Lori, no.
But they didn't lose by 60 twice, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think we might have lost this by 60 to the Hornets.
Oh God,
Wasn't that the Hornets game
that's
where
so
we lost
bad.
by 60? And then we turned around and handed them their worst franchise loss.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I think,
I know we had at least one like horrific loss in terms of like number, but it didn't
yeah.
happen twice. So that's twice as good if you look at it.
Also, the second half of the season, like I know people are like want to poo-poo on the wins that we got because they're like, oh, tanking in March and whatever. Like, I, I don't,
Whatever.
I don't care. Winning is fun, and also we played and beat some really good teams, and we beat some of them with their best or near their best looks.
Hmm.
Like, it wasn't like they were like benching all of their stars or whatever. Like, and there were some times where like when we played Cleveland, they Donovan Mitchell wasn't playing, but we beat the rest of Cleveland, and everybody would agree that at the start of the season, a Donovan Mitchell-less Cleveland Cavaliers would have still beat us.
Hmm.
So, growth.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And like, I'll also say that as it does every year, doing this podcast helped me frame and not just like spin out of control about some of these feelings that I could have just really leaned into. You know, knowing that we had these awards that we were tracking and being able to think about things like that, being able to think about the things that we could control, even though it's some of it is very silly, very tongue in cheek, like coming up with the whole Development Express thing and, you know, the lottery bound to replace tanking. All of that was stuff that was actually in our control. Like we can choose the
Yeah,
words that we want to use about what's happening with the team. And so I'm always grateful for that. I'm always grateful for this podcast for being able to look at it a little bit differently.
same. And it also gave me a place to like think about the things that I do like. And and help other people see things that maybe they also like about this team, but it's hard to remember because the narrative is today it's going to be how upset some people are about the coach. And earlier this season, it was about someone's minutes or someone else's minutes or, what lineups or whatever. Like, but there's lots of things that we do like about this team day to day. It's just easy to forget about it. And it's a nice reminder.
Yeah.
Um, can I just say, I've also just really enjoyed being able to talk about it with you all season because, um, sometimes I have these feelings and I'm like, can anybody else have the same feelings that I have? And you don't always have the same feelings that I have, but you can hear the feelings that I have and be like, yeah, those are valid. And that's great. It makes
Yeah.
me feel seen.
Every, everybody should go start a podcast.
That's right. Go start a podcast where you host it with your Blazer BFF and you talk about your feelings about what it means to be a fan because ultimately most of the time you're not winning a championship and you just are there to experience the whole thing in its entirety, the good, the bad, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and maybe one day you can hold on to the belief that maybe the Blazers are listening and you can delude yourself into thinking that the Blazers are the whole team is they're probably going to come out of their locker room tonight being like the what awards episode is going to drop tonight and we're going to find out who got nominated because every year they've got it circled like last day of the season what awards are going to be announced pretty soon. Am I nominated? And they probably all gather around, somebody puts it on their phone and they all listen to find out who got nominated.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously.
For sure. No notes. Exactly correct. Um, I hope that you all of the Blazers, as you huddle around one last time in the locker room and think about the what awards that you all are just desperate to hear your name.
Right. I hope they're all there. because you know how sometimes when players are injured, they don't show up. But I would think for the last game, and it's like fan appreciation night, so they're probably all there. Because I would hate to be like talking about best accessorizer, and some of the people who were nominated aren't a part of the group. Listen to the what podcast. They're probably listening to it on their own.
Well, I heard they're doing exit interviews today, actually, after the
Oh,
game.
today
Yeah.
they are out of here.
They're people are already on vacation. It's like out of office messages are already up. They're ready to go to Miami or
Yeah.
wherever.
Yeah, and vacations are probably a little bit cheaper if you leave before like a certain day. So maybe they have got their making a little savings.
That's right.
Well,
Because
should
these
we?
guys are definitely worried about saving a little bit of money on their flights.
Well, some of the youngins might be. Um, okay, should we jump into the what award nominations?
Yes, let's do this.
All right.
So we have been sourcing these throughout the season. We've talked to lots of different other podcasters about this. We've talked to some of our listeners about this, and we're here to like make some decisions, some hard decisions about who's going to be nominated for the very prestigious What Awards. The
Oh,
first,
oh wait, can I before we get into that, can I just say Carmelo Anthony, first ballot Hall of Famer, also what award winner? You
that's
want
right.
don't try to tell me those aren't connected. I'm sure that that helped him out.
Yes, when the Naismith Hall of Fame was like reviewing him as a player, they were like, "Well, he did win. He's a Blazer legend, a Blazer legend. What award winner? We can't say no."
I'm sure that helped out. I didn't see it on his LinkedIn profile, but maybe they just haven't gotten it up yet.
Yeah, it's true. I haven't checked his LinkedIn profile for quite some time.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So, Tara, the very first What Award that we should talk about is Best Accessorizer. Because here's the thing, I talked us into going with Best Accessorizer this year instead of Most Improved Fits because we have a Most Improved Blazer. And so I feel like the success of this award, I feel like weirdly attached to the success of this award this season. Do you have thoughts?
Okay, so my first thought about this, and I think I know the answer, unfortunately, are pants accessories. I don't think they are. I looked it up on Wikipedia. Fashion Wikipedia had a whole list of things that are accessories and did not list pants. The reason why is because for me, if pants were an accessory, Deni Avdija would run away with it because that man knows how to wear pants. His pant selection is so good. He has just the amount of like wide legs versus not wide legs. The man knows how to wear pants, and I'm so impressed by that. However,
Hard pants.
hard pants and soft pants. He's like all
Yeah,
over. He's like a pants savant. But unfortunately, this isn't the pants award.
right.
It's
That's
the
right.
accessory awards. So my you know, we do have some guys who wear some accessories. Some are like have pretty like reliable accessories, like Donovan Clingan with his DC um diamond necklace.
Hmm.
Deandre Ayton with all of his diamonds. I love his diamonds.
Oh my God, yes. And his belt buckles. I'm so obsessed with the belt buckle when he would pull out the like bejeweled belt buckle. Oh my God, the belt buckles were immaculate.
Yeah.
And also it was one of those things where I was like, it's not an accessory that we really saw guys lean into in previous seasons. Like a very fancy belt buckle, like it really hit for me.
I think it really is a good like, I think accessories that really sort of match your personality or like give you a point of view. I think a belt buckle is a really good one for DeAndre because he spent so much time in Arizona. He's from Arizona,
Hmm.
so like I could see him getting into belt buckles when he was in Arizona and to the bringing him here and making him kind of a part of his fashion point of view. I think that's a cool move and you're saying it's pretty unique.
Yeah, I'm so down with DeAndre belt buckles. I feel like he has to be nominated for belt buckles alone, but the necklaces also great. He also has some very shiny like wallet chains
Hmm.
that he has rocked throughout the season. So like when the belt buckle and the wallet chain come out, I'm like, please, like just slay me now. This is a wonderful accessorizer right here. So yeah.
So
DeAndre.
I'm hearing a lot of Deandre Ayton praise as far as Accessorizer. Who
Yes, for
else
sure.
would you uh think about recommending?
Um, so this is one that I have thought about throughout the season. I think Jabari has great glasses.
Oh,
He
gosh.
has sometimes been rocking sunglasses and like to go with this whole like, he has like he'll do like the chunky
Yeah.
jacket slash glasses look. I think it looks great.
Okay.
Um,
I have to say they didn't really like stand out to me, but that doesn't mean so now I'm gonna go back and look.
they're not
Uh
flashy.
yeah. But I think you're right. The way that he has built is building on his boxy coat brand. I like that the sunglasses being, to accompany that.
Did you see Jabari's outfit? I think it was last game. I thought I loved his outfit.
He had a
I
great
think
coat.
yes, and it was like his coat and pants like kind of matched or they went together.
Hmm.
And I just like I don't know, he's just like it's been really wonderful to follow Jabari's fashion journey this like over the course of his like NBA career because we've
Hmm.
had him now for several seasons. Like he really has grown into his like fashion voice as much as his basketball like voice.
Yeah. Yeah, he really I do like that I think last year we decided that he took on a stylist, and that's when he really came up with his point of view. But he's really continued to build on that, and I love that. Like we had a lot of sweats again, which
Oh
is
my
fine
God.
if that's comfy and that's what you want to wear. We had a lot of players wearing a lot of sweats with very minimal accessories on the sweats. Um, Somebody else though that I think has continued to improve year over year, and part of that improvement is the addition of accessories is Scoot. He
Yes.
also wallet chains are big with him. He wore shorts the other day, which I know pants aren't an accessory, but he was switching things up a little bit.
I really enjoy Scoot. And Scoot is another guy who will like dabble in glasses.
Hmm.
He'll do glasses and he will I mean he can still rock a sweatsuit, but like when I've seen him wear sweatsuits, they're often like I don't know, like they're like they feel like they're fashion like they're
Yeah,
fashion intention in his sweatsuit choice.
he wears a number of pants where that are sweats, but they don't have the elastic at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a popular thing for him. Again, pants are not accessories. Maybe we need to have best pants
Best
next
pants
season.
next season. We did. I do think that with the like barrel leg pants coming into style, it's given guys a lot more room to run with the types of pants they're wearing. Like,
Hmm.
um, and it's also given different sweatsuit looks,
Hmm.
which I mean, quite frankly, like it was fine for a while there, but like for a hot second, it was like all sweatsuits, and it was like who had the best designer sweatsuit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and then of course the we gotta talk about Jeremy.
Of course.
So Jeremy, so on Instagram, I don't know, maybe you don't watch these types of videos, but I watch a lot of those videos of like people getting dressed, get ready with me. And then they put on cute outfits, and then like the last 5 minutes of the video is them just like piling on accessories, and I'm like, oh, that's the secret. That's why some people look so put together all the time, because
Mm.
they don't just like put on a sweatshirt and jeans and run out the door. They add cuff bracelets, and then they add other bracelets, and then they have a ring, and then they have a watch, and then they have earrings, and then they have three necklaces, and then they have like all these things that they just keep layering and layering and layering, and it just looks so rich by the time they're done. And Jeremy just crushes that.
Yes. Also, I don't know if you saw his reel recently. Like he did a reel just the other day, like 2 days ago, where he went to a local studio in Portland and made himself rings.
Hmm.
And it was like something like he's like, I wanted a signet and so I went out and made one.
Hmm.
And like just it's like a guy like that who's like, there's an accessory that I need to express myself through fashion, and I can't even buy it, so I'm gonna go out and make it. Like that is an attention to detail, my friends.
Hmm. Yeah. So we've mentioned DeAndre, Scoot, Jeremy, and Jabari. I think four nominees is plenty. Is there anybody else that you want to bring up though that we should debate whether they should be included?
So I'll say we again, pants are not accessories. But I will say that Toumani does rock a lot of interesting pockets on often on his pants. He has the most interesting pocket pants I've ever seen. They're not quite cargo. I mean, I guess maybe all pants with pockets are like external, like sewn on pocket, like pockets are all cargos. I'm not sure if that's true, but like he often has like pants with like multiple pockets, pockets with or pants with pockets and zippers. Like I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I've noticed him wear a lot of like very interesting pocket arrangements on his clothes.
That's so practical too.
Yeah. I mean, then he doesn't need to walk in with a little dop kit. Like some of the guys, you can just like pop his razor and all of his little toiletries into his pants pockets.
I'm not sure I want the basketball player that I cheer for with a razor down in his pocket. Might cut himself. You know, it reminds me when my kids were little. Uh, my definitely my youngest, I think my second one also. They used to cut out the bottom of their pants or bottom of their pockets and then extend them all the way down. And so they would have pockets that went all the way down below their knees so that they would fill with stuff and go to school with all their stuff in their pockets.
The other thing I'll mention, Denny also has great necklaces.
Yeah.
Denny has great necklaces. He seems to wear like the same, like roughly the same, like few. But he like wears them with wildly different outfits. He doesn't always wear all of
hmm
them together, but he has like a few that he seems to be his preference. And I like that I think he has one of them that's like pearls.
Yeah, I
And
remember
I'll
that
say
early in the year.
I'm a sucker for a guy that wears pearls. I think that pearls are great on men.
I feel like Jeremy did that as well.
I think that's right.
Um, One thing that I'm want to be on the lookout for more, I'm kind of surprised nobody has like made a stamp about around this is bags. Like that's such an opportunity there. So I'm hoping somebody will pick up bags next year and be like the bag guy, the guy who has the cool bags.
Yeah, there was that season, this last season or the season before where Jeremy had some really great bags.
Yeah, he always has
Um,
good bags.
he always has good bags, but most of the guys have just like kind of regular, like high-end designer, like
hmm
luggage pieces, which are beautiful, but there's nothing like particularly unique about them because they all have the same like three designer bags. It's like
hmm
you have Louis Vuitton, you have what's the one I'm thinking of?
Gucci.
No, Goyard.
I don't know.
Goyard bags. That's the one that like has like a very similar pattern like you would typically see on like a Louis Vuitton. They have like you'll if you Google it and you look at the pattern, you'll realize that you've seen that bag everywhere,
Oh,
just in
okay.
different colors. They're like come in green and brown and whatever.
Did you see that some of the Knicks have a new they have Chipotle branded bags?
No.
They're these beautiful leather bags and they have like an imprint of the Chipotle logo on it.
Oh, well, that's a thing. Sure.
Anyway, just Blazers, if you're listening, bags growth opportunity for next year. Maybe if you didn't hear your name on this list and you want to get on it, that might be something that you might want to consider. Okay, so who should we go with our four? I think we should know more than four.
So
I
we
feel
have
pretty strongly about Jeremy.
yes, DeAndre, Scoot, Jeremy, and
Then it's between Toumani with his pants with pockets and Jabari and his sunglasses.
uh let's let us honor the journey of Jabari Walker here. I would like to go with Jabari Walker because I think that we've seen his fashion evolution, and I want to honor the fact that he's been here 3 seasons and has showed up differently each year, and has always been in the minus his rookie year, he's always been in the conversation in my mind.
hmm Yeah, I'm totally good with that. I think yeah, that sits great with me. So we've got DeAndre, Scoot, Jeremy, and Jabari as nominees for best accessorizers with honorable mention. So that means Deni is also an honorable mention. Deni and Toumani honorable mention.
Yes, that feels good to me.
Okay, cool. Moving on. Most improved Blazer.
Oh, this is going to be hard. There's so much improvement, which makes me, it's like I'm thrilled that there's this much improvement for us to like talk about.
hmm
Because, like, what is, like, in some ways, this is the most important award for a developing team.
Hmm.
And that's just like the best.
Yeah, I know. It's so good to have like a bunch of guys that are not on 10-day contracts to talk about.
Yes. And can I just say that, like, we just got there at the very end of the season. I think on Deni's last game, he has 3.9 assists per versus 3.8 in his previous season. And I said at the beginning of the season, I wanted to see him improve his assists per game because he's an exceptional passer, but it also depends on other guys making shots. And it means something better is happening here than in Washington, which to me, mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah. I don't want to like bring the vibe down, but I kind of think he should have gotten more than that.
Yeah. I mean, I think
And
he's the beginning of the season really hurt him because he
yeah,
really it took
that's
him
a
like a
great point.
couple of months to
Hmm.
like find his groove. And by the end, like if you lopped off the first 2 months of the season, like I'm sure it's a huge improvement.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I did pull out a few stats. They are cherry picked. But we had to have something to talk about in addition to vibes, because that's also a thing. But I think with Deni, the thing that with most of the guys I looked from year to year, but with Deni, I looked from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, like you were saying. And
Hmm.
he had a tremendous improvements in some really important categories, like 3-point shooting. He was before All-Star break, he was at just under 34%, and he ended up at more than 41%. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
His usage rate also skyrocketed, and that's not really a like thing that you measure like does that mean that they improved? But I think it's interesting to note that as the season went on, his usage rate increased as well as did his counting stats. Yes, field goal percentage overall went from 45 or about 46 to about 51. His true shooting between October, and true shooting is like all the different types of scoring wrapped into one number, was at 44.9, and he ended at 61.3 in April. So that's a big jump. So from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, huge improvement for Deni Avdija.
Yeah, that's incredible. Also, like, I mean, we saw him get two triple doubles in the second half of the season, and he's never had one in his
Yeah.
whole career before this. Like,
Yeah.
what a beast. Like, I remember people saying like, "Oh, he's probably not ever going to make an all-star team," and earlier in the season, but maybe he could someday. And now I feel like I'm like he should be an all-star.
Hmm.
Like I look at him and I'm like, you play like an all-star. The guys who do what you do are all all-stars.
Hmm.
Now, if you do it in Portland and your team's record isn't in like the tip top, I don't know if that's true, but like, dang, man.
Yeah, and he's been mentioned in a lot of national media as well. And if people on the East Coast are staying up to notice what you're doing, that's big.
Totally, totally. And I think that sometimes those conversations are fueled a little bit at first by like stats. They're like, what
Hmm.
do the stats look like at the end of the night when I didn't watch the game? But when his stats jump out at you that much and then you turn on the TV and to watch this person intentionally and you're still really impressed, like that says a lot because I think that every Blazer fan knows how important he is to this team because we all see what this team looks like with him and we all see what it looks like without him.
Yeah. And I think
But
that figures into another word we're going to be talking about.
that's right. That's right. But it just says a lot that he can like still like hold their attention after they've looked at the stats and then they watch him play and they're like, "Oh yeah,
Hmm.
that guy plays like a star." Um,
Yeah. And it's not couched in like, oh, he's the best player on a terrible team. All the other teams that they were
no,
playing didn't have their best stars. It's just like,
no.
oh, look at that. Blazers got something there.
And I've been hearing more people say, talk about how, oh, he looks like Luka Doncic out there. Like that's like Luka Doncic's game. But what's interesting is that when I was doing the deep dive into Deni Avdija, that was his original, like one of his original comps when he was
Mm,
coming out of EuroLeague, is people thought he looked like Luka Doncic, and he has always kind of like shed that a little bit in interviews and said like, we're our own players, we're all on our own trajectories. He was really ready to play at a high level early. Like I'm on my own journey. And so he tried to not let that comp like define who he was, but like here he is
yeah.
years later, and people are still offering up that comp.
Yeah.
I don't think that's exactly it's a perfect comp because I don't think any comp is perfect. I think everyone is their own guy, but it says a lot that somebody who plays at that high of a level and is that valuable in the league is somebody who Denny still reminds people of. And I'll say there's some kind of amount of poetry to it because I think in Blazerland we're so used to having our star look like another star and everybody say he's baby so and so. With Dame, they were like he's little Steph, like Denny, little Luca or whatever, but like it,
Hmm.
maybe that's always going to be our curse live in a small market.
Well, speaking of baby, how about baby Kobe? Uh, Shaedon.
Do you think that's why Kevin Calabro started calling him Cobra, by the way? Because they were like, Black Mamba's a snake, Cobra's a snake. I don't,
I don't know. I think it's
I,
because I think he talks a lot about him slithering.
interesting. Okay. Because I got to be honest, like, I don't understand where that came from at all. Like, I think Kevin's made that work, but I just don't,
I don't
it
mind
just,
it at all.
I don't mind it. I just don't know where, like, why he landed on that one out of
Yeah.
all of the things.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that I noticed about Shaedon, so with 3 years with the Blazers, it was kind of hard to count last year because he lost so much of it due to his core injury.
Yeah.
But not really his like counting stats and numbers didn't stand out to me as much as like things that he's figured out how to do.
Yeah.
Like being able to self-create his own buckets. That was just not something that he did. And being able to do that now, like you can give him the ball and he can go get a bucket. Which is not something, and that's like a huge I'm when I'm thinking about like most improved, I'm trying to think about improvements that actually are going to help the team in the long run. And
Yeah.
him being able to get his own bucket uh is I think going to be a really valuable skill. His scoring in the restricted area has gone up. Sometimes I watch him and I think, how did that go in? And it's just so fun
Yeah.
to watch him when he gets in there. Um, yeah,
The
just the
put
amount of points that he gets in the restricted area has gone up pretty significantly.
the putbacks are the most amazing things sometimes where you're like he just comes flying in out of nowhere
Hmm.
for like a rebound and a putback. It's like yeah. It's some of the most fun that I have watching the Blazers play is when Shaedon is
Is on
flying.
one.
It's flying, yes.
I love it when he's like just standing there and all of a sudden he's up in the air. Like
Yeah.
that's
From like a
amazing.
dead stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Um and he's gotten off more shots, so it's all predicated on whether or not him needing and using and being more successful with the ball in his hands is what the Blazers are going to need in the future. I feel like
Mm,
you always need a player like that, but if the other guard position we're still trying to figure out what that is, I wonder like how that is going to work with Shaedon. One of the things that I think about like for next year too is like, or not next year, but like when we get to the point where, okay, Blazers are ready to make the big move and go all in for the win. Will Shaedon be somebody who is like up for movement because he's shown what he can do, but maybe it doesn't fit in with all of the other players as well? This is
oh
something I
my
think in the back
gosh.
of my head.
I'm
But
not
this is
ready to
like
have that
in the future.
conversation.
This is like when the Blazers are really good and they're making the playoffs and they want to like take it further in the playoffs and they're like, okay, we got to make a hard decision. It's
Yeah, I
good
just
to have hard decisions.
yeah, I don't want to have that.
Sorry.
I'm glad that's not my job.
Yes.
Um, yeah. I'm
Do you think
I'm
he's a candidate for most improved?
I do.
Mhm.
I do. So I'll say this is where I have a hard time thinking about him because I know that there was like this idea that fans had about him. They're like, he's going to be the guy. It's going to be, like they wanted him to fulfill a role that they that was familiar and they everybody knew needed to be filled.
Hmm.
Do I think he's that guy? I still don't know. But has he improved a ton? Yes. And does he look more like that guy than he did at the beginning of the season? Yes. So, like in that way, Shaedon is incredibly improved. He's also shown that he can take over a game, which I don't know if he had really done before that. He'd have like flashes of that or like a shift like that, but like he put whole games together where like I was like, oh shoot, you were the guy this game. Now can you be the guy, like every game on a nightly basis? I don't know. But um, I've been so pleased to see him. And I was starting to get really nervous, I'll say, like when we were like maybe I don't know, 6 weeks ago when like the coach was like kind of saying how he couldn't connect with Shaedon, and I was like, ah, oh
Uh-huh.
gosh. But like he looked like whatever happened in that period of time, things improved since then.
Hmm.
Um, and I just hope that he comes back with that same kind of mentality of improvement next year.
Hmm.
Can we talk about someone else for most improved?
Hmm.
Did anybody have on their bingo card Toumani Camara being an exceptional three-point shooter this season?
What a delightful thing.
Like, I think that everybody knew that he was like going to be defensively quite strong. I don't know if anyone knew he was going to be like as good as he is this year, where he also showed a lot of improvement, but like he was one of our best three-point shooters.
Hmm.
One of our most consistent three-point shooters this season, in fact. And I was just like genuinely shocked and delighted to see that because he looks like this proper 3 and D type guy.
Yeah. Blazers actually have one. It's amazing.
It was like we spent so many years trying to turn Al Farouk Aminu into that and Mo Harkless into that, and we were like, maybe we'll get Trevor Ariza, toward the end of his career to do that. And we've tried so many ways to get that, and now he's that, and he's also like 24 or whatever,
Hmm.
24 or 25.
Yeah.
I don't-
It's so heartening that he was able to up the volume of 3-point shooting as well as his accuracy. That's just exactly what the Blazers need. So, for people who don't have it open in front of them on Basketball Reference, last year he took 2.5 3-point attempts. This year he takes 4.6. That's with an increase in minutes played as well. And his shooting has gone from 33.7% from 33.7% to 37%. Above league average. Most important thing is, will people guard him? Yes, please guard him.
Also, he's like a cut threat, and like, yeah, he's just really impressed beyond what I could have imagined after so few years in the league. And I'll say I do think that Deni being on this team has helped Toumani. I think that they have a really nice chemistry together on both sides of the ball. And like Deni having Toumani to pass to, when he like penetrates the paint has been really good for both of their games.
Hmm.
So I'm really glad to see like Toumani's improvement. I'm glad to see Deni's improvement, and I'm glad to see how well they play together because that to me those two guys finding like a rhythm together was like the start of this team looking like a team.
Yeah.
And they helped bring some of the other guys along because they had really good chemistry. I was noticing like last like December, even December before like they'd really started to take off, like those guys knew where the other guy was going to be. Like before I felt like some of the other guys really figured that out for themselves with each other. Those are the guys that knew where they could count on the other guy to be. And they didn't have to think about it or look really hard before they passed the ball. And they
Hmm.
just knew that those guys would be there. And I was like, that was the start of something that like felt good about this team this season.
Oh, yes. I mean, that is something that we talked about. I think we talked about it earlier about just how the lack of people just throwing the ball straight out of bounds because people weren't ready, and how much the whole team has improved on knowing that the ball is coming and being ready for it. And I think you're right. Started with those two.
Yeah. I'm so pleased. That chemistry right there really like I don't know if it saved the team this season, but they wouldn't be as good as they
Hmm.
are right now if it didn't start with those two when it did.
Hmm. So I have a couple of other players that I want to suggest for
Yeah.
most improved Blazer. So Scoot, I think we can say watching him, he's playing with a lot more confidence, a lot less hesitation, a lot more like he seems to know what he's doing with the ball before he does it, rather than like, what? I got the ball now. When you look at his like numbers, for take them for what you will, they're very similar to last year. There's not a lot of like eye popping. Like he went from his probably the biggest improvement was in 3-point shooting, 32.5% to 35.4%. So that's significant. That's a big deal.
Hmm.
Also, to go back with what we were just talking about with Toumani and Deni, he's passing it to people who are more prepared. And
Yeah.
like he's making like he's uh, as opposed to just passing it and hoping that they're like he knows who's going to be prepared. I think he knows more about who's going to be prepared now. So
Yeah.
that's really important for the future of the team. So I think Scoot might be somebody, but I think we got to talk about Jabari as well. And maybe he just ends up with honorable mention, but his 3-point shooting, I mean, so many of the guys on this team have improved in their 3-point shooting. And I was very not sure that Jabari's was going to last all the way till the end of the season. And, given who he's playing, what situations he's been playing, maybe it's a little bit higher than it's natural, but he's gone all the way up to 38, for almost 39% in his 3-point shooting. And I think that's after, 28, 20, that's like below 30 with this first couple of years. That's a significant improvement.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll say I didn't even know that was something he was really working on. Like we didn't really see him shooting many threes prior to this season. Like clearly this season he had like the green light to shoot those. Um, but I'll say this is the thing that gives me pause about Jabari. They didn't play him for like half the season. They didn't play him until they were winning.
Hmm.
Like they didn't play him at like even at the beginning when it was all kind of like chaos and
Yeah.
mess. Like he wasn't getting any minutes. He was getting DNPs,
Hmm.
or playing just in garbage time. And I'm really curious why suddenly he popped back up halfway through the season and is like getting like he'll get like meaningful minutes. He got a few starts. Like I mean, granted they were like starts due to injuries, but like suddenly he was a guy that was like in the like meaningful minute rotation. And I'll never forget that like I forget which game it was. I want to say it was the Charlotte game where we blew Charlotte out. Maybe it wasn't Charlotte. I don't know where it was, but there was a game where we blew somebody out and he was playing in garbage time minutes with all the garbage guys and he was the guy.
Hmm. Hmm.
So like, and he was the guy, like he was the number one option on the floor, and I was like, this is like the upside down world over here.
He also had a game where he was nearly perfect from three, and he had a lot of
Yes,
them.
yeah, he was like four, like five, six from three. It was like it was nuts. But like, I'm very curious, like if they just figured out how they wanted to use him, or if there's something about him that got better.
I I feel like a lot of it is because they had the need to play him
Yeah,
because of injuries.
yeah,
Because when Ayton and Robert Williams not being available, but you're right, for a long time they could have played him, and
yeah,
they didn't. They went with Toumani at the center. Or they went with Deni at the center, and then something happened, and they started playing. And maybe it's because he improved, or maybe it's because the coach decided that they wanted to try something new. I don't know. That's a
yeah.
great question.
I just don't know because I remember earlier in the season, I'm like, well, this game's a mess. Why aren't we seeing our Summer League champion Jabari Walker get any of these minutes? Like he was getting DNPs in games where like we weren't competitive at the end and he wasn't even going in for garbage time. And I'm like, where is our man Jabari? And now he gets to play when it's like he gets to actually do something in like real minutes in real like a real game.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I yeah.
I'm very happy for him. Okay, against Boston,
Okay,
Jabari
but
Walker.
can we say one other thing about Jabari before we
Yeah.
move on? Jabari Walker, most improved vibes by far. This man is out here. Like, have you seen all of the like pregame videos of him like hyping the players up before they come out of the tunnel? They're
Okay.
incredible.
Um, so I was gonna say that he was 6 for 6 against Boston from the three.
Okay.
From
Yeah. Okay.
three.
That
He
was
was
the one.
6 for 6. And then he
Right,
went
because
0
that was
for
the game where
2.
he was always open. because they
Right.
didn't guard him. They
And he
guarded all the other
capitalized
guys.
on it. Well, but he had a nice little run there. This was back in early March. He was
Mhm.
6 for 6, then he went 0 for 2, and then he went 2 for 2 and 3 for 3 in the next games after that. Okay, so that's Jabari. I would say if we were going to have a most improved vibes award, I would actually give that to Anthony Simons.
Oh.
If you were looking at it from like I think
The
Jabari
beginning of the season to like
beginning of the
now.
season to the end. Remember how much Anthony just was, it just appeared that he was really, really struggling at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm bummed that he wasn't playing much at the end because, despite what, everybody says in the future of the franchise, he can be really fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's a lovely player to watch. Um, but I just felt like it felt like he hit his stride with in terms of like this group of guys. He wasn't like, treated like, oh, you're the holdover from the old thing. Like I felt like
Yeah.
he was worked in and incorporated into this new team. And I thought his vibes improved a lot by the end of the season.
Yeah, I
Um,
I agree. Because there was a time where it felt really like in like November, it felt real dark.
yeah.
Like Ant's vibe felt real dark. But I do think two things happened that helped him. One was that he got in that fight. Remember when he started that fight?
Forgot about that. That
And
was
you saw him like
fun.
hike up his shorts like he was
Yeah.
ready to like get into the fight. Blessings upon our baby ant. Okay, so that happened, and also when the rest of the team got better, the game got easier because it was like they were doubling him
Yes.
constantly, and they were like, nobody else in this team can play. We're just gonna sell out on the number one guy. And when everybody else got better, the game got easier, and I bet that also the burden felt less.
That is such a great point. That is such a great point because it really did. They were double teaming and triple teaming him sometimes because, like, who else were they going to worry about? Well, now they've got other players to worry about. Yeah, I love that. Um, okay, so we need to figure out which four
Most improved.
that we're going to forward. So we talked about I think we both agree on Toumani and Deni.
Hmm. I think that I really think that we should uh throw Shaedon in the mix.
Okay.
Shaedon feels like a lock to me, especially considering
Yeah.
like last year was a down year, obviously, but like that means that there was just so much opportunity for growth from him, and he really like I think
And he
we
did it.
saw him flourish. Yes, he
Yeah,
did it.
he showed some stuff. Yeah. Okay, so Jabari and Scoot were the other ones that we talked about. I feel like we kind of have to give it to Scoot just because of the role that he's in.
The pressure, and also like I'll say like he played the whole season compared to Jabari.
Hmm.
Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? He played the whole season. I mean, except for this very little end here where he was in concussion protocol, which
Hmm.
I'm very thankful that the team was very careful with his health here.
Hmm.
Um, but I got to be honest, at the beginning of the season, I was really scared that I thought this was a really important season for Scoot. And there would be like, we could get to the point of the end of the year. We didn't know if he was going to be a guy on this team. And now I feel very confident that he's going to be a guy on this team. And that to me in and of itself is a huge improvement.
Hmm.
He found his shot. He came into this season. We didn't know if he had a shot yet, and he has one.
Yeah, when he steps up to do that three, we don't go, "Oh no," anymore. We're like, "Okay, all
No, and we
right.
also saw
Way to
that he
get your
could do
shot
it.
off."
We saw that he could make big shots in big moments. We saw that game winner against Utah. Like
Mhm.
he can do it when they let him play at the end of the game. He has the confidence to take a shot that he needs to take
Mhm.
and make it. So yeah,
All
I
right.
scoot.
Congratulations to Monty, Shaedon, Deni, and Scoot for your nominations for this year's Most Improved Blazer Award. And congratulations, Jabari, for honorable mention.
Very good.
Okay, next one is going to be tough. Um, Most Valuable Blazer. We kind of talked about it already. The team is just better when Deni is there. And
I
if you take him out, they're worse.
If you take him out, I don't know how much they win.
No, I mean, if
Like
we talked about it before, like Toumani, if Toumani's not there, the defense looks bad. If Denny's not there, the whole thing is a disaster.
I like I'll say like I know that we're gonna vote on these, but I kind of can't imagine anyone else really being the most valuable Blazer besides Deni Avdija.
Hmm.
He has been important for unlocking our potential this season, for us seeing a path through. He's improved a ton. He's taken the skills that we knew that he had in Washington and made them all better and bigger and more important on this team, and it's made it part of our central identity. Like, I don't know. And also, like, he's important when you see him playing with the team on the floor, but you're right. The times where he's like the most valuable is when you see the Blazers with him off the floor and you're like, ooh, where's Deni? Bring him back in.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I don't want to sway everybody because we are going to give this out to our listeners to vote for. So I feel like we should give him some competition, but it's quite hard to me. I was casting about for because like last year the winner was the remix. So I was trying to like think outside the box of the players. And I thought one potential possibility is most valuable Blazer doesn't have to be somebody who plays on the court. Maybe it's Joe or our new best friend, Mike Schmitz, because they were the ones who put it together. Mike's the one who discovered so many of these players, or not discovered, but like who really advocated for bringing onto the team these players who are going to be key to the Blazers' future.
Sure. The front office? You want to just do one for the front office?
Oh my, are we brave enough? I'm not sure I'm brave enough to do the front office.
I'm trying to think outside the box
Yeah.
here.
I mean, that's going to include Jody, or does it?
I don't know. It's open to interpretation.
Blazer front, man, that is ballsy. But Mike's our personal friend now. That's why I was
Okay.
like, maybe we could.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that I was really like struck by with Mike, I will say, is that Mike specifically, when we went to the Chalk Talk and we got to meet Mike, um, when he talked about going to Belgium to see like the Belgian team play and how, he clearly had Toumani on his radar far earlier than like just like the draft
Mhm.
like
The
attention.
draft board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was somebody who had spent a lot of time thinking about players, thinking about every player that he possibly could think about. And now and that player somehow arrived here. And what once was considered like at the time of the trade, like an add-on to make the trade work, like that became maybe the most important player in the entire trade.
Yeah.
So like we could say Mike Schmitz because you just never know how much work that the front office and people like Mike put into learning about guys who they might one day have an opportunity to bring to this team. It's a testament to staying prepared.
Okay, so I think we can make a case for Mike Schmitz. What about our other best friend, Andre Patterson? I mean, he's everything else that
Yeah, he
makes this
is.
engine go, right? Like
Yeah. I'll say
I would
I
hate to include Mike and not include Andre because Andre was also quite great.
can we be most valuable Blazer Mike Schmitz and Andre Patterson together?
Okay.
Because I do think that they have complementary skills and visions that work together, and they're better because they work together as like assistant GMs.
Plus, they invited us and they were really nice to us.
They were really nice. They were really nice and kind and really like didn't laugh at our questions like at all.
Okay, so we've got Deni Avdija. Another suggestion was the Blazer front office. And then Mike Schmitz and Andre Patterson, the team, the duo.
Forget I said the front office. Make the
Okay.
front office go away.
Okay, we're taking that off because man, boy, that would
Like
be
today, especially,
right.
fans are not gonna. It's a very controversial choice.
Oh, how about the Development Express? Thinking outside the box.
Yeah. Who are they?
It's the train.
It's the train.
It's the lottery bound train.
The lottery bound train.
Uh, I mean, because I could see people being like, the tank is the most valuable Blazer.
I
Well,
think that
no.
I think we should throw Toumani Camara in this mix.
Okay.
And here is why. I think that Toumani is somebody who gave Blazer fans specifically something to root for that isn't winning a championship. Like suddenly the whole like city is around Toumani's defensive awards like opportunity at the end of the season. All
Mhm.
defensive defensive player of the year, all those things. And I think that that's something that's really magical that we have something to root for. That isn't the play-in tournament. That isn't like, like winning a championship or the playoffs, but like we get to celebrate one of our own in a way that is pretty great. And I don't think any of us thought that we would be doing this at the beginning of the season.
That's an excellent addition. So we've got Deni, Mike Schmitz, and Andre Patterson, Toumani Camara. We need to come up with one more. Um, Development Express has been suggested. Let's look at our list of players. I mean, we got two players now, so that feels better, which is than what we started with, which was only one player.
Um,
Um,
I have an idea. I don't know how good of an idea this one is. You can like it or not. I have been thinking about this kind of earlier in the season, not as much at the end because he's been hurt. But I do think there's something really magical about Deandre Ayton this season. And here is why. I don't think that winning could have started without him. I think that he was really important when especially Robert Williams III was hurt. Klingon was still kind of figuring out the game, and he was figuring out how to not kind of stay out of foul trouble. Like that, those winning streaks were really possible because he was a really solid center for us. He
mhm,
had a different game than a lot of things people I think expected of him to be here. Like he plays a lot like a guard. He's taking jump shots and whatever, but like I think that he has been really steady and also really patient for a guy that came from a winning team and a winning organization as a former number one pick to like be on the development express with us. I don't know. I really appreciate that about him and I know that um we've seen him cheer on Donovan in
mhm,
ways that some guys don't always do for guys who play their position.
mhm,
Like it that takes a certain amount of generosity from a vet to be able to like look at a guy that's coming in behind him that's a highly touted rookie and be like, I'm rooting for you and I'm here to help you.
mhm. I would totally accept that. His vibes have also been really good, especially the second half of the season. Um, he also does a lot of hype videos. He this is like a preview of my take, but he makes basketball fun, which is pretty important, especially when you're a developing team. So I'd be fine with that. I don't know that he's necessarily going to be the front runner, but
That's right.
for the vibes and patience alone.
I just want to honor the fact that he's made important contributions to this team, especially because a lot of players were a lot, actually not a lot of players, a lot of fans have been like, trade DeAndre, trade so and so. Like, and DeAndre has rolled with it and still been a great vibes guy on the bench. He's been
Hmm.
a really good like teammate. He's been joyful. Like you've
Yeah.
seen him rolling around with that like speaker on the, like in the background. You've seen like I don't know, videos of him like he's like a speaker that you're I don't know.
Also, his mom's Bahama Mama pizza from Wild Child Pizza is delicious.
Oh my
His
God, I
mo
need it still.
Oh my God, it's so you would love it because it's got pineapple. It's spicy and it has pineapple. It's got jerk chicken, it's got pineapple, it's got this very interesting like mustard aioli that they like to put on the top of it and
Ooh,
then they dust it with breadcrumb. It is so good.
I need
And
it.
right, and because I ate it and I posted about it, I got free tickets to the last game from Wild Child Pizza about it. So
That's
uh,
so cool.
yeah, yeah, it was really nice. Unfortunately, the tickets that I got were in front of this small child who I couldn't yell. It was against the Warriors, and I like had a whole week's worth of just pent up aggression that I was so excited to just like go yell at the Warriors about. But this sweet little girl was sitting in front of me with her dad in his Warriors costume or uniform or
Costume.
whatever, whatever. So I didn't feel like I could like really I'm still mad about that game. Not about the result, but about the fact that I couldn't freely express myself because I was worried about this little delicate little girl in front of me. I didn't want to ruin her night. And I think I would just like to get credit for I was actually because she was there, I was trying to not yell mean things like I easily could have against GP2, the worst former Blazer ever. But instead I said things that were really nice. Like hey, good shot, Draymond. Keep shooting threes. Like that's positive.
Yeah.
And I was
Especially you
like,
say it like, good shot,
good
Draymond.
job. I was like, good job. Every time Draymond shot and missed a three, I was like, good job, Draymond. And then, I was like, hey, Gary Payton's playing in Portland. Congratulations. Good for you. And it was very nice. I could have been much worse. But anyway, I can't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about most valuable Blazer.
It's a
Definitely not
testament
any of those people.
testament to your restraint there, Tara, and your creativity to make lemonade out of lemons or
Yes.
whatever.
But because I know I was talking about it because of Deandre Ayton, his mother's delicious pizza. They have a family foundation which they've brought to Portland, so they're doing important things in Portland. So yeah, I could definitely make a case and fight for DeAndre Ayton in a way that I probably would not have been able to for the front office.
That's right.
So we've got
DeAndre
Deni,
Ayton, congratulations.
most valuable Blazer nominee. So we got Deni Avdija, Mike Schmitz, and Andre Patterson as the team, DeAndre Ayton, and Toumani Camara. I can live with that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we got to move along. As usual, we're going late. Okay,
Shocker.
I know. Blazer Legend. We have two more. We got a couple more left. Blazer Legend. Blazer Legends were busy this season.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So I think we have to very obviously nominate Damian Lillard for bringing the scholarship to PSU. That is
Yeah,
a very like straightforward, obvious Blazer legend type of move there.
so
Um,
good.
yes, and it also like really reminds us, it's like a good reminder that he's still really invested in our community, even though he's not playing here right now. He lives here, his family is here, his
Hmm.
children are, born here, like, and
Yeah.
also he wants to invest in other people's opportunity to thrive here. So,
And he announced it during All-Star Week, which just felt a little bit even better. Is
yeah.
that in his Bucks uniform, he announced it that
Yeah.
it's to get specifically scholarships to students from Oakland to Portland State. I think that was very cool. So 100% agree with you on that. I would say there's a couple reasons that Nurk could be um nominated for Blazer Legend. Again, Blazer Legend is a former Blazer who did something to benefit the Blazers or the community. And Nurk was interviewed at one point about the team in Orlando. Um, and he was saying, this is a quote from him about Orlando. They're a really good young team and they are doing a really good job. They have a really good coaching staff, but I think they're missing one player. I can't name it, but that's my little fella from Portland. So for his seeing and agreeing with us that it would be great for Anthony to go somewhere where he could play for meaningful wins. Um, I think we could consider him as a Blazer legend.
And at the time when he did that, that was like before the Blazers were like winning here at all,
Hmm.
too.
Hmm.
So like, and it was when I think like Ant's vibes were down.
Hmm.
So it was like, it felt like really good timing. I'll
Yeah.
say when we talked to Mike Richmond and when we talked to I think Chris Burkhardt, they both were like taken for kind of hater reasons
Yeah.
to other takes on Nurk being a Blazer legend. Mike Richmond's what I believe was that because he torpedoed the Phoenix Suns. And for Chris Burkhardt, he appreciated that we pointed out that because of the fight that Nurkic got in with the Dallas Mavericks at the time, uh, the next game there were Mavericks serving suspensions against the Blazers when wins were few and far between and hard to find. We got a win off the back of Nurk picking up some suspensions against the team we were about to face.
Love it.
So Nurkic for multiple reasons.
Another former Blazer that I would like to put forward is LaMarcus Aldridge. I was on my walk this morning. I just randomly thought, God, I miss LaMarcus Aldridge. And then I
I know.
remembered this earlier this season in an interview with Chris Haynes, he spilled some tea about
Oh,
wanting to come to Portland to retire and Olshey saying no. I mean, I was always not an Olshey fan, but if there was anything that solidified it for me, it was this. Like, that was terrible. How could you do that to LaMarcus Aldridge, who wanted to come here and retire and
also,
said
he's
no?
he said that he tried multiple times to get back here, not even just to retire, but to reunite with Damian Lillard after they had like kind of moved past their tension.
Yeah.
To like play together again. Like he could have come back and played here, like not just to like, play a ceremonial season and retire, but like to play with Dame and redeem themselves as teammates. Sir, that's a one-way ticket to Blazer villain, my friend. Not for LaMarcus Aldridge, but for Neil Olshey.
Yeah, it's a one-way ticket to Blazer legend for LaMarcus Aldridge to do that. That was good.
Yeah, and I was so pleased to hear that because we never really knew how he felt about us in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And I was like, he's kind of an introvert. He doesn't really share his feelings that freely, which was like a contrast to the way Dame kind of shows up. And he's like, oh, you put Dame in front of a microphone and he's very, very honest. That wasn't the way LaMarcus was, but it was nice to hear in his own words how he felt about his time here.
Hmm.
And it made me really sad that he didn't get to go out the way he wanted to.
Hmm. Yeah.
It really, I'll say, grudge holding in the NBA feels like it's totally a thing. And it sounds like one of those things that's fake that fans make up. But then you hear stuff like that and you're like, what could that be besides a grudge?
Yeah.
It's just petty.
Yeah.
Um, I want to bring up one thing that's probably recency bias, but I'll just say Blazer legend Evan Turner subbing in for Lamar on the broadcast was pretty magical because he made a game that was absolutely a game that many people would skip into a must-watch game.
Hmm.
And there was a little part of my heart that sang when I heard him say stuff like our us talking about the Blazers, which really felt like that ultimate Homer way of talking about a team where he's like our team, which meant that he felt like he was talking for as a member of Portland. And so
Hmm.
that just made me really, really happy.
Yeah, that was great. That was great, friend. I was listening to that on a plane, so I didn't catch everything, but I did definitely enjoy that.
We
You
also got to hear him rehash the stuck in an elevator story.
I know the only thing I was thinking during that thing was I was like, ET, don't tell all the stories. You got to leave us wanting more so you'll come back. But he told like all the hits. So I was like, oh, I mean, I'm sure that there's more stories, but having to do, oh, he also talked about Zach Collins's birthday, but he was saying, I think he got the cities mixed up because again, I was in an airplane and I couldn't hear it very well. But I think he was talking about it being like in a different town. And he wasn't talking about Miami. And I was like, sir,
It was
the
Miami.
next day anyway was in Miami. Maybe the night before was somewhere else, but the next day was definitely in Miami. But I was really glad he brought that up in the context with which we regularly bring it up.
Yeah, and he talked about helping the lady with the in the car
Oh
accident.
yeah.
And he also talked about the truck crashing in his
Hmm.
pool.
Man, he was just nonstop entertainment. Everything happened to him.
I know, but I will say I didn't really appreciate when he talked about the elevator story. He talked about partly adopting the demeanor that he had because he was trying to keep guys from freaking out.
Yes.
He was like, he
Rodney
was trying,
Hood.
yes, he was trying to keep Rodney Hood from like panicking in the elevator. And I was like, good guy Evan Turner for like thinking about the needs of his teammates and then adjusting himself accordingly.
Hmm.
Like, I appreciate that about somebody like him because he
Yeah.
seems like he was always just sort of goofy, but like he was clearly talking about there was intention behind the way that he conducted himself during that
Hmm.
time.
The former number one team in the West.
Yes.
I went right out, not long after that. I went with a bunch of friends to a game in Denver, and we were in the arena and we got on the elevator and the thing started beeping and all of us in the Blazers who were Blazers fans, we got off that elevator so fast. We were like, we are not getting stuck in an elevator as soon as that thing started beeping. Anybody else you want to mention for Blazer Legend? We've got Nurk for a variety of reasons. Damian Lillard for his scholarship, ET for his broadcast, and LaMarcus Aldridge for spilling tea on Neil Olshey. Anyone else you want to give consideration?
Uh, well, let's give an honorable mention, I think, to Greg Oden, a
Yeah,
favorite of this podcast.
yeah, I think that's great.
Because we got to see him again this year. We got to like I don't know if it was like healing, but it felt healing for me as a fan because I never knew if he would ever come back here. I wouldn't
Mhm.
blame him if he never wanted to because, there was a lot of heartache here for him, but it was really nice to see him show up healthy and happy and doing well and also to be embraced by our franchise. Um, so yeah, I just want to say that about Greg Oden, and I'm sure that I'm not going to hear any resistance from Greg Oden's number one fan, Tara.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was I don't think I will nominate him for the award. But I think he should definitely get honorable mention. I think they teased that we might hear something about his involvement in the team in the future, and I think if we had gotten what that is before the end of the season, I
Yeah,
may have wanted to nominate him for the award, but I really like the ones that we've got. So I don't
yeah.
want to supplant him for that. ET broadcast, LaMarcus Aldridge, Spilling Tea, Damian Lillard scholarship, and Nurk for a variety of reasons.
And I'll just say Greg Oden might be eligible next year when we do find out what that thing might be.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, moving on to social media play of the season. I wrote down Blue Sky for being there when we needed them.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about this, just like the fact that all like social media play of the season might just be the fact that all Blazers fans made a silent agreement to all move together. Because I think that that's what made the move easier for everybody. And it also made it one of those things where like it did feel like some loss, but there was also some joy in building like something new together.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, what other nominations do we have? Social media play of the season.
Oh man, there are some good ones. I'll say I really have enjoyed Jerami Grant's work this season, where he's been doing a really great job, not just highlighting what he's been up to when he hasn't been able to play, but also for like he showcases local businesses. He shows himself around the Pacific Northwest. He's shown how he's really like made this place home and like I don't know, enjoyed what Portland has to offer. And not all players do that when they do. Like, like everybody always like clowned on Dame for never going to the Oregon coast. And Jerami Grant did his All-Star weekend at the Oregon coast and went camping and hung out on the beach and went thrifting and just like lived like a normal Oregonian. And I don't know. I loved seeing that from him. And I love seeing how he's really like found ways to be a full person even when his health hasn't always agreed with playing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's really a guy who's really happy where he is. Another thing that some Blazer fans might have to adjust to if he indeed stays out here the entirety of his contract. But he certainly seems happy to be here, which is way better than having somebody who's not happy to be here, right?
Yeah.
Um, I would like to nominate for social media play of the season our friend of the pod, Conor Bergin, for his investigative work about two hands for safety. I could not be happier this season that we have multiple players who do two-handed dunks, two-handed rebounds, and the fact that it was confirmed, but with Connor's interview with Chris Murray, that Chris Murray said that he always does two hands for safety, made my heart soar. I want to thank Conor Bergin for that. I think it absolutely deserving of nomination. I actually went back to because I've been talking about two hands for so long. I went back to my old Twitter archive to see when I first started talking about it. My first mention of two hands, it was I was talking about rebounding.
Hmm.
Um, 2016 is when I started talking about two-handed rebounds. My first specific tweet about two-handed dunks was in 2020. So this is something that has meant a lot to me for a long time, and for Conor Bergen to surface that and then also do me the kindness of actually tagging me in it when he wrote it so that I saw it. Conor, excellent work.
A well-deserved, I'll just say we're nominating Conor Bergen for sure because that's a well-deserved uh play from a rookie in the arena reporter that has meant a lot to our podcast here. Um, and also now, have you noticed it's like canon? Like I saw Brooke ask Chris about two hands. Like suddenly everybody cares about two hands. And
Hmm.
I think that it started with you like 8 years ago or whatever now. And Connor brought it to the world. So thank you, Conor Bergin, for your investigative reporting on two hands for safety. Um, yeah.
So we got three. We've got Blue Sky as a platform for being there when we needed him. We got Jerami Grant and his local business work on Instagram. We've got Connor. The rest of it, we're still suffering from this like kind of lack of players just even being on social very much anymore.
Yeah, I have one other that I've been thinking about. Um, and I want to and I think it's like sort of a general, I don't think it's an individual play, but it's like a general thing that I've seen happen.
Hmm.
I really appreciated one that the Trailblazers official socials went to Blue Sky. And
Hmm.
I also really appreciate that they have given us more peeks into player vibes like on the bench, in the tunnel, and just in general, like that's how we've seen the Jabari Walker vibes in the tunnel. I don't know if those are improved vibes. Maybe he's been like that the whole time, but suddenly we see his like pregame ritual of hyping up his teammates in the tunnel, and I'm like so happy to be able to see that of these guys and see the Trailblazers making like an earnest effort to like meet us where we are, which is no longer on Twitter.
Hmm.
So that's like maybe maybe worth a nomination. I don't know.
Yeah. Blazers Social for their peeks behind the scenes and for coming to where we all went.
Yeah, because not everybody did that. If I'm being totally honest,
Right.
not everybody did that, and not everyone's team, their official team, has done that.
Hmm.
And I appreciate them like like they listened to us and they were like, we said we wanted to see them there, we wanted to hear about them there, and they're doing that.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some people are still a little would like to see some more of their reporters be on. Um,
Yes.
and I like understand. I think it's many of the people in the media like don't like to be on multiple platforms. I can see how it would be a total pain, and I absolutely understand that. So, but the Blazers social media account anyway are the ones who went. So good for them. Although I'm still voting for Conor Bergen. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be saying how people should vote, but that's how I'm voting.
Tara, I'll say I don't know how I'm going to vote yet, but I want to give props where props are due, and also as like a point of encouragement for other people who want to join us where we are, that the Trailblazers account is very much appreciated in the Blue
Hmm.
Sky space.
Yeah. Okay, we partway through the season we unretired a award that we were going to retire, which is the Bench Celebrator Man of the Year. We started off the year going, "What's there to celebrate?" And boy, were we wrong because we actually had a lot of really great bench celebrations. Um, I think you could just look at Matisse's dunk from this week. Matisse dunked, and it's not like he's not a dunker, but it was a pretty fierce one, and we got a lot of great reactions. And Anthony has been a consistent, really good, especially in the second half of the year. I think Anthony's been a consistently good bench celebrator. Um, oh my God, I'm what's well, DeAndre.
Yes, Deandre has been a very consistent bench celebrator. Deandre Ayton lost his mind when Deni got that and one that forced overtime, I think, against the Cavs. I think was that the Cavs game? There was like Denny had an and one where it like changed the entire like end of a game.
Mhm.
And DeAndre Ayton looked like a ghost had like passed through his body. It was so good. I loved it so much. He was so hyped. And it was great because also he was injured. Like when guys are injured, sometimes like they're not necessarily as involved in the game and he was living on the edge like the rest of us.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch on the bench all season.
Yeah. Oh, I want to also shout out Scoot. Scoot has been a really great bench guy. He is a great guy. Like whether he's on the bench in the game, he is always screaming his head off for when his teammates playing well.
Yeah.
He's flexing like he did it himself. And I love that.
Yeah, he's a great hype man. You know when you're on Scoot's team that he is like cheering so hard for you. And like just the way he wants everybody to be successful and it just comes through in everything that he does. I think the other person I would add is Donovan. It
Yeah.
is, we haven't talked about him very much. He's a rookie, but coming from a very, very winning situation into not such a winning situation, you can tell that he is passionate about winning, but he also likes to have a good time. That comes through on the bench, to me.
Yeah, I agree. And also like not only his passion on the bench, but like his passion in the game. Like I think Julio pointed this out. Like there you'd be hard pressed to find a guy who does the like frustration hard dribble of the basketball after the play is over if he like fouls somebody or makes a mistake. Like, and not to say that that's necessarily celebrating, but like you can just see his emotions in the game.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I'll try to find some good examples of like a still picture of each one of these guys so that we can add it to the awards when we release them for voting. So, but what we come up with, I think, are Anthony, DeAndre, Donovan, and Scoot. Is there anybody else that you'd rather replace? We haven't had a long discussion on that.
I don't think so. I think that I want to just like shout out an honorable mention to Rob. Rob is not always on the bench, like where I can see him. But like his presence is still felt even when he's not playing in the game. And I just want to say, like, I really appreciate Rob. We haven't talked about him this much this season, but when he's played, it's been such a joy. And also,
Hmm.
like, the way he hypes up and encourages his teammates, I notice.
Yeah, that really does come through. Yeah.
Like, what a great team we have right now. I'm like, today, like right now, the last game just started, and I'm like, I'm not ready to say goodbye to these guys. Like, this was such a fun year. It was more than I could have expected this
Hmm.
season. Um, and I just like I last season I was like at the end of the season I'm like, whew, I'm exhausted. And this season I'm like, wait, already? It just started.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I am sad that it's coming to a close. I'm happy though because I don't think there's going to be a lot of turnover.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. I agree. I think that there might be some small moves here or there, but I don't think that they're gonna like break this core up.
yeah, we're not looking at you got to tear everything down. It's like, yeah, we know what the storylines are going to be about who should be moved and why. But
Yeah,
I think a lot of the guys who we're looking for the next couple of years are already here.
yeah. I think I agree with that, barring any weird shakeups because of draft, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah. And I'll say I'm happy to watch this team play again. Like if it
Hmm.
was just these guys again, like I know that there would be some people who would be disappointed or whatever, but like me, I love all these guys. They were all really fun. They did something really magical this season, and I'm not mad to see them play this brand of basketball again.
Yeah, I can't wait to go into year two of being the team, or year like maybe one and a half of being the team that nobody wants to play. I
Yeah,
real
totally. We
I really want that to be their identity.
we became like a really annoying team. People were like, Portland. Like in March, they're playing to win. This
Yeah.
sucks.
I so hope that continues. Okay, well what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this stuff together and we'll have the list of all the nominees. It'll be in the show notes. It'll also be on Blue Sky, so follow us on Blue Sky. Um and then I think we'll leave the voting open for a while. We'll figure
That's
that. You
great.
and I can figure that out later.
Yeah.
Um
We're going to be going on kind of a short hiatus
mhm.
anyway. So this is our last episode for a little while because I will be taking medical leave from this show. So I don't know if I mean, you may do some shows without me and that's totally great. But end of the season
Yeah. It's a
is just some
good time to take a break, give you time to heal. We actually do have some deep dives planned for later on. So give us time to do a little research so that we can be thorough in our research on some of the people that we haven't talked about yet. Um, Rose, we got to do takes. What's
that's
your
right.
take?
You're asking me this
I'm
week?
asking you. I remembered. I'm just so excited.
Okay, so this is my take. I like kind of previewed this a little bit on Blue Sky this week as I was seeing other people depressed about the end of the season like I am. The WNBA in Portland is right around the corner, everybody. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but my team's not here yet. I'll get into it next year when my team is here. Trust me when I tell you, get into it this year. This is the year for you. I'm telling you right now. The draft is tomorrow night. Tomorrow at 4:30, tune in, watch the draft, watch some dreams come true. Because as you watch these players come in and as you watch this season unfold, know that the very first member of the Portland franchise is already playing this season because there will be an expansion draft before we get an opportunity to draft from college. So, watch these players, watch them like you watch college now, scout them out for the future. Like the very first WNBA player in Portland is going to be playing this season, and you're going to want to know who they are and what they can do for your team when it does get here. This is an exciting time. Hype yourselves up. We are going to have a WNBA franchise next year. It's the best. Come join me. I'll tweet along with it or whatever we want to call it over here. But I'm so jazzed for WNBA because it's one of my favorite times of year. That's my take.
I love it. It's so correct. And we're going to have so much work to do, getting to know, like there's a lot of preliminary work we can do right now with your very good point that they're already playing. And then next year when the season starts, we're not going to have an off season anymore because
Yeah.
as soon as the NBA finishes, we got to turn right around and start doing deep dives on all these WNBA players that are going to be representing Portland. So we need to like also make sure that we really enjoy this little break that we're going to have because we might not have it again.
And Tara, let me just give you this pitch. The WNBA is the NBA, but with housewives drama. There's so much drama in the WNBA that is just not possible in the NBA because they didn't all used to date each other. There's not exes on teams or exes that play against each other or people who are dating who are playing against each other as rivals. None of that exists in the NBA. And oh my gosh, you're going to love to get into the mess of the WNBA drama. It's the best.
That's that's actually not something I've ever really wanted out of my basketball, but that doesn't mean it's not something I don't need out of my basketball. So we will find out.
I have one of my like closest friends from forever that I've known since I was 5 is a season ticket holder for the Washington Mystics, and she told me, "Tell me when there are two people in the NBA dating, and maybe I'll think about switching. They don't even have to be on the same team, but if there's two people in the NBA who are dating, I will think about switching some fandoms around and getting into the NBA basketball part of it."
That would be so amazing. Um, okay, I love it. My take is just a reminder that basketball should be fun. And it should be our escape. And sometimes I get bogged down in the not fun aspects of it. And I get caught up in, the fans having different opinions and going, why are people fighting? And I just want to remind myself and anybody else who wants to hear it is that basketball should be fun. It's a game. And there's some amazing people playing it. And there's a lot of storylines. And, when you look at like how upset Luca was when he came back, it's because he loved doing what he was doing where he was doing it. And those fans loved him. And, it's just a reminder, basketball should be fun. And I'm going to hold on to that as everything else is burning around us. Basketball should be fun.
Amen to that. Also, if it's not fun and it's never fun for you, like maybe this is not the right hobby. I'll
Yeah,
just go ahead
or
and say it.
maybe there's other things to focus on. I mean, really, if we hadn't had this pod, bring it back to what we were talking about at the beginning. If we hadn't had this podcast and the what awards to be watching for all season, and other things that like were under our control, are we going to rebrand tanking? Like all of the things that you can control, you can make fun. And so, like, if you're not enjoying it, maybe you want to figure out a different lens that you can use to watch it that will make it more fun for you. But I'm not telling anybody how to fan. You can be a fan however you want. That's just my take.
That's right. There's no wrong way to fan, I don't think.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off for a few weeks at least. We'll keep everybody apprised of how they can vote for the What Awards. Please do vote early, vote often, vote as many times as you want. We do not limit the amount of times that you can vote. So follow us on Bluesky at We Have a Take to find the awards when I finally get around to getting them published. You can find me at TCB Biggs. You can find Rose at Rose L. Harding. Thank you, everyone, for a great season, a surprisingly fun season. And we'll have to figure out who we're all going to cheer for in the playoffs later. Go Blazers.